Hello, everybody. This is Megan,
And this is Alana.
and we are off this week, but we wanted to bring you a special episode that is my favorite episode. We're going to be off for the next 2 weeks. So, for those 2 weeks, we're going to each pick an episode that we love and let you take a re listen to it. This is not maybe my all time favorite episode. It's hard to pick, but one of my favorite episodes is episode 10, the infamous Lizzie Borden. Do you remember that episode?
Sure do.
I love it because, one, it is the episode where you called me a sheep based off your personality quiz and brutalized me.
Brilliant.
And it said that my professional...
Basket weaver.
Yes, basket weaver, exactly. And so this week, my son, I was thinking, what episode do I pick? And this week, my son brought home an art craft from school, and he was like, look what we learned. We learned weaving today. And I was like, okay, I'm going to pick, definitely, that's a side to pick that episode. And then as I was listening back to it, you do a tea review, and it's the first time a tea rating emerges, which is my favorite. And I am shocked along with everybody else. I say something like, a system has emerged, a rating system.
I can't wait.
And then you talk about Nymeria, your black cat, because it's on your tea mug. And as you said that, as I'm listening, a black cat walked in front of me.
What?
Yeah, I was walking outside with the dog, and he went nuts, and I saw just a little Nymeria, and I was like, okay, that's 2 signs that I'm going to pick Lizzie Borden. So I went with that.
Oh my God,
Plus,
amazing.
This is just
a good one.
Infamous case. Everybody knows it.
Except for me.
Except for you, which is my favorite thing because you have a hot take on it. You take your criminological brain, is that a word? And you're like, let me delve into this very old case that experts have studied for years, and here's what I think happened.
This,
You're like, 35 minutes, that's plenty of knowledge for me to crack it.
Case closed.
That's a case I picked. Take a listen. I hope you enjoy. We'll be back in sometime. We'll be back soon.
I know you miss us. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Hello, everyone. This is Megan.
And this is Alana.
And welcome to Tea Time Crimes. Hello, everyone. How are you doing today, Alana?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Oh, I love when you're formal with me. I'm good, although I'm still recovering from your vicious attack on me this week.
What? Oh.
Alana sent me a quiz that says, what animal are you? And I took it excitedly. And then the results came in and they said, you are a sheep, which in itself is insulting. But I thought, okay, well, they're going to spin this for me, right? You should sell your hair to make a wig, AKA, use your fur to make a sweater. They did not say that. They said that I lack all defense mechanisms and flock to the suburbs with like-minded individuals to raise children and let my religious leaders and spouses make my decisions for me. And I lack all ambition and should be a basket weaver. That's what it said. And then to top it off, there said an alternate result was that I could possibly be a mole, which didn't sound great. But I clicked on it anyway, and the title was, You Are Not Overburdened by Beauty. And then I promptly closed out all the results. While Alana sends me her result, She is a majestic eagle, and I'm a mole sheep. So what do you have to say for yourself, ma'am?
It's not my fault. I didn't know.
In 10 questions, they destroyed me.
It's so bad. Like, why would they create a quiz and just have a terrible result?
It was the most brutal quiz result I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was really rough. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened there.
Oh, man, I thought, I thought they're going to spin this, right? And give the positive of every animal. They did not.
Nope, they
did not.
But I mean, I feel like basket weaving could be a great practice.
Yeah. I'm going to get right on that. I don't know if there are a lot of basket makers out there in this day and age.
Probably not anymore.
So shoot us an email. Let me know how to get started because that's my calling, apparently. That was all it said under hobbies. I don't even remember the other ones. I think it was just basket making and I don't even remember anything else. So that's all I got.
I don't know. Yeah,
Also, it's ridiculous because with those hooves, sheeps aren't weaving baskets. So I think it makes sense. Moles would have a better chance, I feel.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, I'm not overburdened by beauty and I lack all ambition. So here I am.
Except you look like Claire. So yeah, here we are.
If you're on drugs and had a few drinks.
Oh, God.
You were a dapper, majestic eagle soaring the skies, reaching.
No, that was my alternate. Heights. My first was a stupid sable, an antelope, dapper.
I don't even know what a sable is.
It's like an antelope, a big antelope.
It is?
A dark big antelope, yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, they had pictures all over it.
I thought it was tiny.
There is a sable creature, like a little one, with it that's like a rodent type thing.
That's what I thought it was.
On this one, I wish I was that one. On this one, it had the pictures of the sable antelope all throughout it. So,
oh yeah, join me and the mole people. I mean,
I'm gonna fit right in the antelope. Why couldn't I get a tiger? That'd be cool.
If you got a tiger,
no. I wish I did.
Well, duh. Obviously, everybody wants to be a tiger. I mean, I'm not.
I don't know anybody who got something cool.
Eagle
My
is
other
pretty
friend
cool.
got mole, and then the other one got beaver.
Well, at least they're industrious.
Hey, sheep eat a lot of grass.
Oh, I should put that on my resume. That's thrilling. That is excellent work.
You don't need a lawnmower. You got a
perfect.
Sheep.
Yeah,
we're set. And the wool, New Zealand is built upon sheep. Right. There's more sheep than people.
Yeah, I support the New Zealand economy, and Brad really loves his lawn, and now he doesn't have to even mow it because I'm here.
There you go. And we don't have to deal with those Facebook posts.
Yeah, Brad often posts
his humble brag lawn posts. Look at those lines.
Oh, it is. And then you think that might be the height of it, but just know that behind every grass Facebook post that my husband does, I have to hear about it for hours. Like sure. I'll be enjoying a cup of tea, thinking it's over. Babe,
no,
look at those lines. I'm like, I've looked at them hundreds of times now since yesterday. Yes, excellent job. I can't say anything more. Can't say anything more.
God, this is another boost of dopamine. That's the good stuff, right?
What? Are you saying that you're laughing and now you have a chemical balance happening? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, it might be serotonin.
Yeah. Yep, that was the one I wanted.
Yeah.
What does dopamine do? Anyways.
Yikes.
I'm sure it's good to have both.
All right. Well, I forgive you for the mean, vicious spiral you sent me down this week. No, I know it's not your fault. Usually we take quizzes and they're not like that. But it was only 10 questions as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it was how big are you? How smart are you? And do you like to fight? That was essentially the questions.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I get pegged as a sheep.
God.
So let's move on.
Moving on.
Do you have a tea time review for us today?
I do. So, one of my friends, Casey, who's basically like a sister, we grew up together. She actually surprised me and sent me some tea in an adorable mug. Let me show you. You'll appreciate it.
I will describe it once she shows me. Hang tight. We'll post a picture too. Oh, it's adorable. It is a little black cat, which is exactly the cat that Alana has in a little garden. Yes, we'll post a picture of it.
It's so cute.
Looks just like Nymeria.
Yeah, my little baby Nymeria. And so Bridgerton just came out season 2 recently. Mm-hmm. Yesterday.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So she surprised me on the day it came out. It was perfect. And so it is Duke and Duchess honey breakfast tea.
Oh, thank God it was in English. That sounds really good.
Yeah. Okay. So are you ready? Excuse me.
Could you clear your throat a couple
You made
more
me laugh
times?
too hard, so now I'm like all torn
You're
up.
right. Quick, you need the tea. Hurry.
I know. Okay. So this tea is strong and sweet.
Ooh.
Pure, sweet honey tempers the boldness of strong black tea.
Ooh.
Could there be a more perfect coupling? Sip this seductive infusion to ignite desire and ultimately devotion.
I was with you right up until the end there.
So let's try it.
All
It
right.
smells like honey. I already smelled it.
Ooh,
I cheated.
really strongly? It's a black tea, yeah?
Yeah, but it has obviously it has honey in it. Sweet blackberry leaves, natural honey, vanilla, and orange blossom.
Did you put milk in it?
Yeah, because it's a classic.
Oh, excuse me. 100 pardons that I didn't know that. Gosh, I was just over here in my sheep pen and I didn't know the etiquette. Sorry. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead. Here comes the swallow.
Ooh.
Yeah?
This is a nice one. Oh, yeah. That's smooth.
Oh. Is it real sweet?
It's not real sweet. It's just that subtle undertone of honey that slides in.
She just made 8 circles with her hand to help bring that point home.
No, that's really nice.
Ooh, I want to try
that. And then
that.
the honey
I think
sits
like
on your
one.
tongue.
Man, you love when
afterwards.
stuff sits on your tongue.
Well, it's long-lasting flavor, and it's a good black tea to carry it through. This is a strong-bodied tea.
Yeah, it is. Of course it is.
Very
I mean,
full.
Obviously, it's after that couple.
Oh yeah, exactly. So this is I give this a hearty thumbs up.
Oh, we have a rating system. It's just emerged, and it is a hearty thumbs up. Is that the top of the rate right there? That's the top. That's his heart. Can you get 2 hearty thumbs up? Is it just
I
one?
don't know.
And is that like a big thumb, or just an
he really thrust it?
Wow, it's a lot of elbow action. All right. Well, thank you.
Well,
Casey.
I'm going to really enjoy this. So thank you, Casey.
I'm sure I'll hear you enjoying it for the next hour while you swallow pebbles. All right, awesome. Okay, we ready to get into the story today?
Story time.
We're going to talk about the infamous Lizzie Borden case.
Okay.
Which literally only you don't know about.
Oh.
And I know that you don't know about it because I said the rhyme a couple weeks back and you looked at me as though I was insane. Do you remember the rhyme? We talked about it briefly and then I told you no more because I knew I'd want to cover it.
No.
It goes, Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41.
Ew.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's a rhyme about a murder. So I grew up knowing about this, and I feel that most people in the U.S. know about it. However, it specifically happened in New England, so I was reading books about it when I was pretty young. So what happened at the age of 32, Lizzie Borden was charged with the brutal murder of her father, Andrew Borden.
I'll be 32. Maybe I'll do that. Just kidding.
I love when you connect with the murderer right from the start. That's always my favorite part. And his wife, Abby Borden, which was her stepmother.
Stepmom.
Okay, so she is charged with the murder of these two. They were both killed with a hatchet, not an axe, but still.
Through the neck?
In the head. Abby Borden was struck 19 times. Andrew was struck 11.
That seems very passionate.
Yes. So what I want to do...
I feel like can I make it a comment there?
Of course. This is your podcast.
I feel like just going through the neck would be faster because it's softer skin.
That is super helpful information, and we'll make sure to get that right over to the killer. Anyway, I want to show you and present to you the case because you don't know it. You're the only person I think who doesn't know it. So I don't think I'm ruining any spoilers here, but she was found not guilty. And I want to present the case to you and see what you think.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So
do it.
buckle up. All right. So first, I want to get into the dynamics of the Bordens. Okay? They lived in Fall River, Massachusetts. And Andrew Borden came from a really wealthy family. However, his branch of the family was not wealthy and he did not grow up with money. And that shaped him in a lot of ways. So he started out as an undertaker.
Ugh, gross.
Yeah. And then he became a businessman. He was manager of several textile mills. So at that time, these kinds of mills are booming in Fall River. And he was also involved in banking, and he also was involved in real estate. And he became a shrewd businessman in his own way with his own hard work. By the time he died at 69, right before he was 70. And by that time, he was worth $350,000, which would have been a multimillionaire today.
Wow.
So Andrew married Sarah Morse in 1845, and they had 3 girls, Emma, Alice, and Lizzie. Now, Alice did not survive. She died very young, so it was really just Emma and Lizzie. The 2 girls were 10 years apart.
Whoa.
Yeah, and Lizzie's and Emma's mother died when Lizzie was just 2.
Oh, man.
So as Sarah's passing away on her deathbed, she makes Emma promise to take care of her little sister. And Emma does. And Emma takes it very seriously. So Emma and Lizzie really grow up, because of their age difference and because of this promise, they grow up more like a mother and daughter than 2 sisters.
Got it.
So when Andrew remarries, Lizzie's only 5, but Abby is not able to penetrate the bond that the girls have and be let in. She's not welcome. And even though Lizzie's only 5, Emma's 15, which is a tough age to be a stepmother, right?
No kidding.
Or to be a stepmother too. And it's said that the girls just never really bonded with her in any kind of motherly way.
Okay.
And they didn't seem to get along with her, but all accounts from people in the town, she was actually a nice woman. But for whatever reason, they didn't connect with her. So there is some tension there, right, with the blended family. Now, on top of this, neither of the women marry and leave the home. So at the time of the murder, both girls live at home. They're 32 and 42.
They're like super spinsters at this time in history.
Yeah.
Wow. Where did they go wrong?
So they're both home, and Emma's pretty reserved and quiet. Lizzie's a little bit more involved in the community. So she's at church every Sunday. She teaches Sunday school, and she's said to be very close to her father. However, she doesn't agree with the way that he lives his life, particularly the way that he spends his money. So remember, Andrew's from this wealthy family in Fall River. All of Emma and Lizzie's cousins live up on the hill, which is the nice part of town. And there's really big houses. They have drivers. They have live-in help. They go to parties. They go on trips. And specifically, their fathers provide dowries for their daughters to get married.
Got it.
So that they can have, a good arrangement for them. Andrew does not seem to do this, so that might be partly why
I see.
Emma and Lizzie are not married. So in addition to that, wanting more and wanting to live up on the hill, Lizzie's also, she buys candy for the kids in the neighborhood and hands it out. She makes sure to tip the groundsman because her father won't. She leaves out treats for anybody who comes to the house to do work.
She seems great.
Well, hold on. Now, Andrew, I told you, he grew up poor, so he's very thrifty. So they don't live on the hill. They live in what used to be a duplex.
Okay.
Down by the river. That's what they always say, which makes me think of that Chris Farley sketch. In a van down by the river. So they're down by the river. Not loving it. And what happened is Andrew just eventually bought the whole house, and instead of converting it properly, most likely to save money, he just put doors in instead of hallways. So a lot of the rooms, you have to go through one room to get to another.
Yeah.
So, for instance, Emma, to get to her bedroom, has to walk through Lizzie's. It's a weird layout of the house.
Okay. I think actually our house was like this growing up. You had to get to the bathroom, you had to go through the living room, through my parents' room, through my brother's room to get to the bathroom.
Yikes.
So it sounds similar.
Well, hopefully you didn't have any of the other issues happening.
Hopefully not.
So, and on top of it, so he's living in this house that is way below his means. He could afford something bigger and better. But this, what I'm about to tell you, might be enough for you to go crazy based off of your love for indoor plumbing. He would not allow indoor plumbing or electricity, even though it was fairly common and fairly inexpensive.
Why? Are we in education, that book?
No, we are not.
Is he a crazy person?
That's a weird segue. So, I mean, that's they aren't loving it.
I don't blame them. Can you imagine a chamber pot? No.
Here we go. It is your worst fear. It's your worst fear. So they have this really isolating existence, Emma and Lizzie, because they are not living it up with their cousins up on the hill, but they also can't live it up and have friends in the working class because Andrew won't allow it.
That sucks.
And, at this time, at this day and age, you're either with your father or you're with your husband, pretty much.
Yeah, right.
So they don't have a lot of options. They're not going to be working outside the home and becoming school teachers or nurses or anything like that. So they're not loving life.
No, I don't blame them.
What ends up happening is this is all the dynamics going on. But when Lizzie's in her late 20s, Abby's half-sister, so her stepmother's half-sister, is at risk for being evicted from her home because she can't make the payment. And Andrew just outright buys the house and gives it to her. And Lizzie and Emma are livid because they're having to go in a chamber pot while he just buys a house for basically a stranger. I mean, it's her half-sister, but, they're not close to her.
That's messed up.
So they're not happy. They confront Andrew with this, and he actually gives them a house that he owns. It's his childhood house for $1 to make up for it. Cool, but I don't think they could live in it because they needed to live with their father. So I don't know what they were supposed to do with it.
Oh, stupid rules.
They end up selling it back to him for $5,000.
Profit!
So they essentially he just gave them...
Swindled him.
$5,000. And on top of that, around this time, I think Andrew's really trying to make amends. He was really close to Lizzie particularly.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, he's a man who grew up poor in the 1800s. He's kind of set in his ways. Yeah. He was really trying to make amends with Lizzie, and he actually let her go on a trip to Europe.
Ooh.
I have to assume in some way he paid for it, even if Lizzie saved the money herself. I assume the money originally came from Andrew.
Yeah.
Because she's not working. So she gets to go to Europe, and Andrew was hoping that this would appease her and make her happy. But when you're in this suffocating environment and you get a taste of freedom, sometimes it makes it
she should just not have come back, probably.
So when she comes back, things don't get better, and she stops even eating dinner with the family a lot. She'll often take dinner by herself.
Yeah.
And she starts referring to Abby as Mrs. Borden.
Oh boy, getting dramatic.
Yeah. The girls want, especially Lizzie, I don't know how Emma feels exactly. She seems a little bit more comfortable. But Lizzie really wants to go to parties, go to theaters, go to, be out and talk to people. She seems much more social.
Yeah.
And she's kind of stuck in this house. Now, leading up, as they get closer to the murders, there's some incidences that happen that are always brought up. So at one point, somebody broke into the Borden home and they took some money and some streetcar tickets from Mrs. Borden's dressing room.
Jeez.
Now, Andrew blamed Lizzie. Lizzie said it wasn't her. And the reason Andrew blamed Lizzie is because there were also rumors that Lizzie would shoplift around town and Andrew would pay the shop owner to keep it quiet.
Oh my God. Wow. That's bad.
I don't know if it's true or not. But Lizzie claimed she did not do it, which means that somebody would have broken into the house in the middle of the day while the women were home and taken the money. But Mr. Borden started locking his door once this happened, and he would leave the key on the mantle in the downstairs room almost to taunt Lizzie, saying, if it gets broken into now, then I know it's you, kind of thing.
Interesting.
Additionally, another story around this time is that Lizzie loved animals.
Aww.
And she had a family of pigeons that lived in their barn.
Stop it. She's a pigeon lady.
Yeah, Home Alone 2.
Home Alone 2.
She treated them like family. And one day, Andrew stormed into the barn and killed several of the pigeons.
Oh my God.
Lizzie was devastated.
That's terrible.
That's the temperature of the household.
Got it.
Okay, that's what's going on. That's the backstory. Now, a few days before the murder, the entire Borden family got sick. And so just to give you an idea of who's in the house at this time, Emma's actually out of town. She's visiting friends, so she's not in the house.
Okay.
They have a live-in maid named Bridget Sullivan. She lives in the attic. That's where her room is, but she's live-in help. However, both Emma and Lizzie are expected to do their own chores, just so you know.
Okay.
Lizzie's in the house. Mr. and Mrs. Borden are in the house. So a few days before the murder, the 4 remaining people of the house get sick with a stomach bug at different times.
Oh, and they don't have indoor plumbing. Let's take a moment to picture that, okay?
Yeah, Alana's worst fear has come true. Yes, so they've got stomach cramps, the whole thing.
Oh,
and
God.
The day before the murder, Mrs. Borden actually goes to the doctor because of the stomach bug, and she asks the doctor, is it possible that somebody is trying to poison us?
No.
Which I've never asked the doctor that question. So
yeah, I can't remember.
I'd love to know. Something must have been going on, right?
Yeah.
For her to ask that question. And the doctor says, well, it's possible. Anything's possible, but probably it's just food poisoning or a stomach bug because they don't have a refrigerator. So they'd been eating mutton that had been left out for a couple days.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's
possible. That's disgusting.
Well,
they need to put salt all over it and dry it out. Okay? Who does that?
Yeah, that's their biggest problem.
They deserve the chamber pot with diarrhea.
Oh my God. This is harsh. This is really harsh.
Oh.
So that's going on. Also, the day before the murder, John Morse, who, if you remember Andrew's first wife, Sarah Morse, it's the girl's uncle, Sarah's brother. He shows up to the house unannounced.
Uncles are never good news, in my opinion. I mean, I like my uncles, but in stories, they're always like a bad guy. Okay, sorry. Keep going.
This is going to hold up in court beautifully. So Uncle John shows up. He doesn't have any luggage, and he just appears on their doorstep, ready. I'm visiting family in town. I need a place to crash.
We don't have room for you. Everybody's sick.
Also, that evening, Lizzie goes to her friend Alice Russell's house, which is a walkable distance, and she spends a chunk of time, an hour or two, talking about how she's really worried for her family, that she thinks somebody is out to get them, somebody might be trying to poison them. She's seen people lurking around the house in the last week, and she's afraid somebody's going to set the house on fire.
Okay. Wonder why she's saying these things.
Well, I don't know. Then she goes home. That brings us to August 4th, 1892, which is the day of the murder. Okay. So Bridget, the maid, she gets up first around 6 o'clock and she prepares breakfast. Hopefully it's not mutton oatmeal.
Ugh.
Before 7 a.m., Abby and Andrew and Uncle John get up and have breakfast. John leaves around 8:45 to go visit family.
Okay.
Andrew leaves around 9 to go to work. Lizzie comes down at some point after she doesn't have breakfast with them anymore.
Yep.
She either had a very light breakfast or no breakfast at all because she's also not feeling well.
Right.
At 9:30, Abby goes upstairs to clean the guest room because John stayed in it the previous night. So she goes up to change the sheets and clean up. Before she goes upstairs, Mrs. Borden asks Bridget, who's just finished vomiting outside, if she could wash the windows inside and out today. It's a stifling, hot, hot day in August.
Oh.
And Bridget starts washing the windows. Between 10:30 and 10:45, Andrew comes home to rest. So he's been sick for a couple of days. It's super hot.
You're
He
wiped
usually
out.
comes home for his noon meal, but he comes home a little early because he needs to lie down.
Yeah.
When he gets home, he has trouble unlocking the door. So they always lock their door, but there was an extra bolt that was thrown that can't be opened with a key, so Andrew can't get in. So Bridget hears him and has to go let him in. When she goes to let him in, she hears Lizzie laughing at her from upstairs.
Weird.
So Andrew goes into the sitting room. Lizzie helps him lay down, take a rest. You don't feel well. He asks where Mrs. Borden is. Lizzie said she got a note that there's a sick friend in town and she went to visit her. So Andrew lies down to take a nap. Bridget is also not feeling well. She's been washing the windows in the heat. So she goes upstairs to her room on the 3rd floor to also lie down. Lizzie goes out to the barn. She goes out to the barn to look for fishing equipment. She's going fishing that weekend, and she's looking for things to get ready for the trip. Lizzie returns to the house just after 11, and when she walks into the sitting room, she sees Andrew. He's already dead. You're going to want to mute your headphones. He's been hit 11 times with what they believe is a hatchet, and he's been beaten severely. His nose is practically cut off. One of his eyes is cut in half. And I tell you this to speak to the brutality of the crime because I think it's important to consider as we talk about Lizzie.
I'm back.
So I just told the listeners how brutal Andrew's murder was because it's important to consider the frame of mind of the murderer.
Okay.
So as soon as Lizzie sees this, she screams. The maid comes running downstairs, Bridget. Bridget runs for help. And everything kind of happens pretty quickly after that.
Yeah, right? Sure.
People are coming, neighbors are coming, doctors are coming, the police are coming. They ask where Mrs. Borden is, and Lizzie says, I think I heard her come home. Bridget, can you go check? So Bridget and a friend go upstairs to check. As they're ascending the stairs, I told you the layout's really weird. There's 2 staircases. As they're ascending the first staircase in the front of the house, they don't even go all the way up the stairs, and they see Mrs. Borden dead in the guest room between the bed and the far wall. They can see her underneath the bed. Like, she's not under the bed, but they can see under the bed to the other side.
No, I don't like that. That would scare me.
Yeah, Bridget didn't love it either. Now, I tell you this because it's important later, but Mrs. Borden's body is cold. Andrew's body is warm.
So she said she went to town to help out a friend, but she was probably up there the whole time just laying dead because she's cold.
Yeah, that's where they're getting at. So Lizzie is kind of in shock. The doctor comes immediately and he wants to make sure Lizzie doesn't suffer, so he immediately administers morphine.
To Lizzie?
Mm-hmm.
Morphine?
Uh-huh. It was more common back then, but it's going to become an issue.
Because she has a little surprise?
So that she can't, you just want her too upset, right? Because, I mean, if there's ever a reason for a woman to be upset, it's not at the double homicide that's in her house. Let's keep it together, Lizzie. Good Lord. So they give her morphine. And the police note that Lizzie's acting kind of peculiar. She's very calm. I mean, hello. Could be the morphine. But they also ask, what happened to your mother? And she snaps at them and says, that woman is not my mother. She's my stepmother, which is odd.
You wouldn't say that if she was dead like that.
Well, she did. So the police need to search the house, but Lizzie needs to lie down because this is traumatic. And again, she's been given a bunch of morphine. So they don't want to disturb Lizzie. So they don't search her room. Yeah, the police work from here on out gets a little dodgy.
Oh, boy.
So they search the house, and it's said that in the basement they find a bucket of bloody rags, and Lizzie says that's because she's menstruating. And so they just leave that there. And then when they go back a couple of days later to search the house properly, those are gone. Okay? Now, the police also, this part's really gross. The police also take the bodies and perform autopsies in the house on the table.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And obviously someone has informed Emma, and Emma rushes home.
Yeah, I was wondering about Emma.
Okay. Lizzie's arrested 3 days later, and she has to spend close to a year in jail awaiting her trial.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Now I'm going to go through the prosecution's case, and I'm going to go through Lizzie's case, and then we'll see where you end up.
Okay.
So here are some problems for Lizzie. Abby was clearly killed before Andrew.
Right.
Based off the temperature of her body and how much the blood has dried, they initially estimate that it could be up to 90 minutes before.
Okay.
Maybe an hour, hour and a half. So that would mean that whoever killed her had to then hide in the house undetected for 90 minutes waiting for Andrew to come home. If it was not somebody in the house already.
Right.
Okay. That seems unlikely and weird.
Yeah.
Lizzie also claimed to be in the house at the time that Abby was murdered, but she didn't hear anything.
Right. And it was the same way that the other dude was murdered, right?
Yes, 19 times with a hatchet.
It's a little loud, you'd imagine.
Yeah, and Abby was upstairs. She would have fallen face first. You would have heard at least a thud.
And
right?
We don't have earbuds and noise-canceling headphones yet.
Right. She does not have the prices right on at this moment. They don't even have electricity. The best she's got going is a candle burning next to her or emptying a chamber pot. So there are also no signs of an intruder. Nothing's missing. Nothing's been searched, right? The front and back door were locked. The side door was left open or unlocked, but there's no other signs of anybody coming in.
Sure.
The note that Lizzie claimed Abby received to go tend to a sick friend, it was never found. And Lizzie and Emma actually posted a reward for anybody who wrote the note or could find the note or could say that they wrote the note for $5,000, and nobody came forward. During Andrew's murder, Lizzie said that she was in the barn, right? So a policeman searched the barn, and the floor was all dusty, and there are no signs of footprints in the barn. Additionally, it was really, really hot, like I've mentioned, and they didn't think that somebody could stay upstairs in the barn for 20 minutes.
Oh, because it would be baking.
Yeah. Also, Lizzie had an initial inquest where they were asking her about what happened, and she's contradicting herself left and right. She's in the barn 15 minutes. She's in the barn 30 minutes. She's in the dining room. She's in the living room. She's all over the place.
Great.
They also found a hatchet in the basement with the handle freshly broken off, and it appeared that the head of the hatchet had been covered in ash rather than dust, because most of the things were covered in dust, but the hatchet was in a box covered in ash.
Huh.
Additionally, on August 7th, Lizzie was found burning a dress because it had old paint on it. I mean, that's what you do.
Okay.
That was alarming. Okay. These are the things that are going on for the prosecution. Okay.
Yeah.
Now the defense steps in.
All right, good luck.
The police searched the barn. There were no footprints. However, the defense pointed out that the policeman who said that failed to note that several policemen searched the barn before him, and he also didn't see their footprints. So the handleless hatchet that they found, they left it in the basement. And when they did go back and get it, it looked, they couldn't find blood on it. But I mean, obviously forensics is not great, but they still couldn't find blood on it. And it came out later in the trial, one of the policemen that was being questioned admitted that he actually found the handle in another part of the house and he just left it there. So the police don't look great.
No.
Also at the trial, they brought in the skulls of the Bordens, or if not the actual skulls, replicas.
Ew.
And Lizzie fainted.
Okay, that's not a strong defense.
Also, Lizzie's inquest, I told you where she was contradicting herself. That was thrown out and was not allowed to be presented at trial because, one, she was not allowed to have a lawyer present, and two, she was on morphine.
Right.
Which causes confusion, memory loss.
Yeah.
And at the time, these doses that they're giving people are very high.
I mean, she could be hallucinating.
Yes. So, also the defense says, why would Lizzie kill Andrew? Why wouldn't she just, if she really was going to kill someone, why wouldn't she just kill Mrs. Borden? Because she loved her father and the crime was so brutal. Also, a witness saw Lizzie walking out of the barn as he was passing by right after 11 o'clock, which means she probably was in the barn at some point. I forgot to mention one thing that the prosecution had as well. The pharmacist in town said that a woman came in the day before the murder and asked to buy a poison that is essentially cyanide, but you need a prescription. And Lizzie didn't have, or the woman didn't have a prescription, and he identified that woman as Lizzie Borden.
Give me a break.
That was thrown out. It was not admissible as well.
By who?
The judge. He said because the Bordens were tested for poisoning, which they did. They tested the Borden's stomach and they tested the Borden's milk. They found no signs of poison, so they thought that that was not relevant, and they didn't allow it. Also, it's thought that originally the time frame between the murders was up to 90 minutes, but, you know, people today say that could be widely exaggerated because it's just somebody looking at blood on the floor and guessing.
Yeah.
And because it was so hot, it was a lot hotter upstairs in that room that Abby was in. So all I'm saying is that it could have been as little as 20 minutes between the murders. And also, obviously, what Lizzie has going for her is that she's a lady at this time. And what lady's going to be? Can she even hold a hatchet? Oh my gosh.
Let me tell you a story of Marianne Cotton.
She didn't hold a hatchet. She just served some tea.
That's true.
Obviously, Lizzie can hold a hatchet, but I'm saying that's playing into it as well. But here's the biggest piece of evidence in Lizzie's favor. There is no blood on her. People saw her after both murders. There's no blood on her hair or her face. Obviously, she could have changed clothes. It takes, longer to change clothes then than it does now. She has no blood on her. So on June 5th of the following year, right, the trial begins. And on June 20th, after an hour and a half, the jury comes back not guilty.
So who is?
Well, they didn't look into the case anymore because they think they have their person.
Lordy.
So there are several motives and theories around why Lizzie may have done it. And then I want to hear what you think.
Okay.
Some say that possibly her father abused her, but Lizzie never said that he did. There's no evidence of that, but that's a theory that came up. The other possibility is that Lizzie overheard her father talking to her uncle, and maybe an arrangement was being made that Lizzie didn't like.
Yeah, where's her uncle in all this?
He was with family. Families say he was with them. However, he's another theory because he had a very specific alibi that, I was with family from this time to this time. I was on this streetcar getting home. It was streetcar number, whatever. He had very specific details. So there's lots of question of whether he was involved in some way as well. But he was with family at the time. Could Lizzie have been in a fugue state and not known what she was doing? Could it have been one of Andrew's business rivals because he was a shrewd businessman and people had come to the house within the time before the murder and they were upset because Andrew owed them money or Andrew wouldn't help them with, give them a break on the rent or anything like that. So could he have made somebody angry? Also, there's another theory that maybe Lizzie is gay and she was in a relationship with Bridget and was discovered and worried about what that would mean for her. So, what do you think?
I mean, I think she did it. I think it was premeditated. Like in the end, she didn't love her father as much as she used to. Like, he was basically her captor, and like kept her in this, I don't know, she didn't love her life. And maybe she started going a little psycho, but she could plan to like chop him up, first she does in the mom and she's like, because she doesn't like her.
Right.
Okay. Cleans up, whatever. Bridget's watching windows. She doesn't know what's going on. And then she'll kill her dad in the same way. And then she has time to wash up and then she'll scream.
They don't have running water.
That's true. Do they have a well or something? They must.
A water pump.
Oh, river.
Oh, well, they're not that close to the river. But yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, those are the theories. Those are the questions, right? The two things that I have a hard time with is Lizzie never seemed violent prior to this. She was never violent after this. What kind of mental state does it take to brutally murder your stepmother and then be able to remain calm for up to 90 minutes and then brutally murder your father and act like nothing happened and then never do anything like that again?
I just don't think a business person would do that to the mother, though.
Right. Well, the theory there was that person had broken into the house to hide and wait for Andrew, and Abby found them when obviously Andrew was the main target in that scenario.
Got it.
And then they waited for Andrew to come home. But I have trouble with that too, because why would you do it in the middle of the day?
Right.
I guess because maybe the door is open, but you would know when Andrew was going to be home because he came home the same time every day if you were, doing your due diligence there. So why would you go so early?
I wonder if the uncle has anything. Did he have anything from Andrew's will or something like that?
Nope. Nothing. All the money went to the girls. And I read one report that said the money actually went to Emma because she's the oldest, and then Emma split it with Lizzie.
Oh, that's nice of her.
But I don't know if that's accurate. I don't know why I wouldn't go to both of them. And it was also important that Abby died first because then the money went to Andrew.
Right.
If it had been the other way around, even though they were both deceased, it would have gone to
you're
Abby.
Right.
And then whatever Abby had in place.
Right. I don't know. I feel like evidence is kind of more piled on Lizzie than anything else.
Yeah, I think the fact that she didn't, I don't know how you don't have blood on you. I can't wrap my head around that. I don't know how you don't have blood on you. On your hair, on your face.
What if she wore a potato sack?
What? So specific and weird.
What if she put a potato sack over her body and Does
she have eye holes in this sack? What do you mean?
Well,
I don't actually. I've never used a potato sack for any violent crimes.
No, I guess that wouldn't cover her arms. But what if she used some protective material? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but then it's still her face that is getting me. Wouldn't it be in her hair and her face?
Right. Like maybe she put a bonnet on, burned a bonnet, because we know she burns clothes. And maybe she was wearing a mask.
It seems. And there's several movies about this. In the movies, she strips down.
That's weird.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's still blood on your person.
Right.
They found 1 drop of blood on her petticoat, which they said was menstrual blood.
Okay.
So, but I would really love to know about those bloody rags that they just kind of left there.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they could be what she said they were.
There is another theory that there's several TV shows about it. They go over this case a lot. There's one theory that said that when Andrew was found, his head was resting on his jacket. And that was unusual because he always hung his jacket up and took really good care of his jacket. And so they threw up the theory that maybe Lizzie wore his jacket.
Oh.
And then took it off and put it under his head. So that would explain why there was evidence on it.
But he also wasn't feeling well that day, so maybe.
Yeah. Also, why are you wearing a jacket? That's my question. But I mean, they're all in like high collared, long sleeved gowns.
Right.
So
Right.
different time.
Ugh. Wow. So what did she do with the rest of her life?
Well, so she was released that day. And first off, think about Emma living in that house alone for that year. While
I wouldn't.
Lizzie's in jail. Yeah, well, they did. They stayed in that. She moved back into that house for a little bit.
I would never.
They quickly bought a house up on the hill.
With the will money.
And they named it Maplecroft, and they had a full staff.
That's what they always wanted.
And when Lizzie was done with the ordeal, she had several people who hated her. She had several people who loved her. She actually got a lot of marriage proposals, which she said no to because I don't know that you want to marry a man who either thinks you're an axe murderer or thinks you're innocent and wants to, be part of your life. Anyway.
It's really strange.
Yeah. So Lizzie had a tough time of it, honestly. She changed her name to Lizbeth, which I gotta say is not, if you're only moving a mile or 2 from your house and you're changing your name to essentially the same thing, I don't know if that's gonna cut it. But she couldn't go anywhere anymore. She wasn't allowed at church. People would get up and move. They wouldn't sit by her. She had no part of her old life back. She became involved with theater in theater, the theater crews, like would throw big parties for them at the house. And she became really close to an actress, Nance O'Neill. And it was actually thought that possibly the two were dating. So there again is that rumor that maybe Lizzie was gay.
Yeah.
Now, around the time that she was friends with Nance, Emma actually moved out of the house in 1905, and the two sisters never spoke again.
Whoa.
So there's lots of rumors around that. The two theories are Emma realized that Lizzie was guilty, and that's why she moved out. Or Emma realized that Lizzie had a girlfriend, and that's why she moved out.
She's homophobic.
Yes. So on June 1st of 1927, Lizzie died of pneumonia. And totally unrelated, but Emma died 9 days later in New Hampshire. And Lizzie had a huge amount of money when she died, and she left the majority of it to the Fall River Animal Rescue League.
What?
So there you go. I mean, imagine for a second that she didn't do it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. She's in jail for a year. She's now hated around town.
Right.
All she's ever wanted is to belong. She's also potentially having to struggle with the fact that she's gay in a time, in a place
in the
where
wrong time period.
That is not something that you can be public about for your own safety. And she must be so lonely.
Yeah, that does sound sad.
She also possibly brutally murdered two people, and
So we're not sure which side we're on here.
then just,
But then she gets into an animal rescue.
I know, it's confusing, right?
It is, but that's how people are.
There are people who like animals better than humans, so that doesn't necessarily.
Like my husband, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, but that doesn't necessarily mean that.
Hopefully, he's not going to axe murder me now.
Gosh, get rid of the hatchets. Yeah, the thing I have the hardest time. I mean, all the evidence seems like, yeah, she's the only one around. But man, she did nothing violent before, nothing violent after. There's no blood on her. What if somebody else was in the house?
She would have heard, somebody would have heard something.
Well, unfortunately, Lizzie was on morphine from the day of the murder all the way until she was free. So any memory she might have had, probably gone.
Wait, what? She was on morphine for a year?
Yeah, they kept giving her morphine to help her cope with being in prison.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
She probably had developed an addiction.
Yeah, probably wasn't great.
Oh.
So I sent you 2 pictures.
Oh.
So open up your phone. One is the layout of the Borden house, so you can see, and it's like a cartoon drawing, so don't worry. But you can see where their bodies were found. And if we go back to, remember when Bridget couldn't get the door open for Andrew?
Yeah.
Well, it was important that she heard Lizzie laughing at her because that means Lizzie was upstairs. And so if Lizzie's upstairs, then how would she not? Do you see where, we'll post this on Instagram, but do you see the stairs, the front stairs that are by the door go up to a landing, and you can either go into the guest room or go into Lizzie's room? Yes. So it would be hard to miss Abby's body if Lizzie had been upstairs, like Bridget said.
Yep. I don't know. This looks pretty bad for her.
Now, go to the next picture. That's Lizzie.
Cute.
Does she?
What?
You're like, let me look at this axe murder. Oh, adorable.
She doesn't look 32. She looks older. But I guess murdering will do that to you.
I don't think she looks older. I mean, anyway, that's why people were looking at that face thinking, I don't buy it.
Looks can be deceiving.
I know.
I mean, look at me.
What does that mean?
Never
You're
know.
A majestic eagle soaring the skies.
I am an antelope bouncing around getting eaten by lions.
Hey, at least you're not a sheep. At least you're bouncing in your own way. Yeah, so wow. You think she did it?
I do. But not with my whole heart.
Seems so cold-blooded to murder your stepmother and your father, and not all at once. I know that sounds awful, but not in a fit of rage while they're together.
No, I
but
hear
just
what you're saying.
Separately wait it out and wait for your father to get home and then help him down for a nap. Seems brutal.
That is brutal.
Also, if Lizzie was downstairs and didn't hear Abby being murdered, then, I mean, Bridget was upstairs and didn't hear Andrew being murdered.
Right.
She was up another floor, but still.
Yeah, it's weird. There's something that's just missing.
Yeah, people think that maybe it wasn't. There's also theories that maybe it was Lizzie, but maybe not alone. Maybe Bridget was involved, or maybe Emma was involved in some way.
Yeah.
But there's no evidence to that.
Wow.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
So that's the story behind the rhyme that I grew up with in New England. That you.
God,
I know.
Terrible.
I know. You just jump rope into that. And kids would taunt her with that rhyme outside her house. She got destroyed after this, obviously. Like, they'd say that rhyme outside her house, throw things at her house. Ugh,
dang,
must have been rough.
Yep.
I don't know why you wouldn't. You have all the money now. Maybe move out of Fall River?
Yeah, let's go to Europe.
But, I mean, how about let's go up to Vermont for a minute.
Yeah.
Might be even a little bit better.
Right. That's wild.
You can actually stay at the house in Fall River. It's a bed and breakfast. No. Mm-hmm. that
Why?
the murders happened in.
What's wrong with people? Why would you ever want to do that?
We're literally doing a true crime podcast right now.
Yeah,
so
but I'm
might
the
be
hater.
throwing stones here.
This is true. Ugh, gross. I could not sleep.
Nope, I'm not doing it.
I would hate it so much.
I would go see it during the day.
I wouldn't. No.
Well, I know you wouldn't, but obviously that's where we're different. I would go see it because I'd want to see the house, but I'm not sleeping there. No way. I bet you just sleep in the rooms. It's yuck. I mean, there obviously have to be some revisions because
chamber pot.
You know, if you're a bed and breakfast, you can't have the doors going into different rooms, I would imagine, but who knows, maybe.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
No thanks.
And her Maplecroft house, it was on Zillow a couple years back, so you can look that up.
Lordy.
Yep. Man.
Hard pass.
Oh, Lizzie. I mean, I want her to not have done it.
Yeah.
But even if she didn't do it, she still didn't. It's not like it was a happy ever after for her.
Right. Right. Exactly.
But yeah, it didn't look good for her.
No.
Doesn't look good. So yeah, there you go. Now you know. And then when you hear that rhyme, you'll know.
Now I know who it is. Probably. That means you're but not certainly
going to forget.
No, I mean like we think she did it, but we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. I mean, the fact that there was no indoor plumbing, that's stifling. And they wouldn't even let the maid take care of that for them. They had to take care of their own rooms and their own chamber pots and their own stuff.
Right, that's disgusting.
Which I can appreciate because, yeah, Andrew's not raising, snotty kids, but...
Yeah, no, I get that. That's nice.
Put it in a toilet, buddy.
Yeah.
Even just one,
Right, that's all you need.
I mean, it couldn't have saved that much money, for God's sakes. Okay, well, any last words?
They say don't go chasing waterfalls.
Is there more?
But I say chase those waterfalls, but bring a map. They say stick to the rivers and lakes you're used to. But go for the waterfall. Bring a map. You never know what you might find.
We don't want to be by the river. We want to be on the hill. Golly. They say don't go chasing waterfalls. Just move on up to the hill. Your dad's already 70. Just wait a year, and then you can move to the hill by yourself. That's what they say. Gosh. Lord. All right. Well, a little TLC for you today.
Can't live without it.
Nope. All right. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram at
Tea Time Crimes.
You can email us at
teatimecrimes@gmail.com.
Yes. Tea recommendations, story recommendations.
Yes.
Just to say hi. And I have no idea what story I'm doing next week, so it'll be a surprise to both of us.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye. Chase those waterfalls.